Hello and welcome to the Enchanted Escapes podcast. This is episode number 4. I'm your host and travel planner, Ben Yunke. Today's episode, we're going to be talking with Jess Grieco about her experiences as a new member of the Enchanted Escapes travel team. But first, some news. All the news today comes from Universal Studios Orlando. There's a lot going on at that resort, and let's talk about a few of the things. First off, the big news tomorrow, as this is released, tomorrow, February 27th, Universal's Volcano Bay Water Park is set to open. I say that's big news because that's about a month earlier than most of us were expecting. So for those of you that are looking at going down to the theme parks and looking for that water park that's open, Volcano Bay is now your choice. It's great because if you're staying on property, you can get that 3-day pass. Go over to Harry Potter World in the morning, and then once it warms up a little bit of the day, hop over to the water park in the afternoon, spend some time on the slides, and go back to the resort for a nice night out. We've also had some closures at the Universal Parks. We finally heard official news that A Day in the Park with Barney will be closing its run. But the biggest news about park closure is coming from Blue Man Group. Blue Man Group has had a set theater there since the Nickelodeon Studios Theater closed down, and they've been there since June of 2007. So a 14-year run. Blue Man Group has done over 6,000 shows. I'm just hoping that something good comes in its place, something that is like Blue Man Group in the fact that you really didn't need to speak English to enjoy the show. You really didn't need to be of a certain age demographic. It appealed to everybody. It was great having a show there on property because after your days in the water park or theme parks, or maybe on the day you arrived, you could go out on the town there in Universal City, have a nice dinner, go see a show, and it really got you in the mood for Universal and everything Universal could provide. I'm really sad to see it leaving. Over on the Universal Studios Japan side, we just had Nintendo World open up. Currently, Nintendo World is also being constructed at Universal Studios Hollywood out in California. So hopefully, once theme parks are allowed to open back up in California, we're going to see Nintendo World construction ramp up and be completed there because this park in Japan looks amazing. Eventually, we will see Nintendo World open in Universal Studios Orlando as soon as they get that 4th gate constructed. Construction's obviously been on hold because of the pandemic. Hopefully, it ramps up here in the next year or two, but I think we're still a ways away from seeing Nintendo World open in Florida. So if you want to get that opportunity, you either have to be willing to travel to Japan to do it, or wait probably about a year and we're going to see it open in California, which would be wonderful for us here in the States. The other big news is ride testing at the Velocicoaster. Velocicoaster at Universal Studios Orlando has been being built over the last couple years. It's really been a fast construction process, and they were able to get that ride up. They're now doing ride testing with actual people on the rides. We keep hearing that it's going to open for this summer. They're doing ride testing now, folks. This is going to come sooner. We're going to start seeing soft openings here at the end of spring. What they're doing right now on the ride is shooting footage for promotional videos that are going to be publicizing the opening of the ride. So we can say the ride is ready. People are on it. It's going to be opening soon. Stand by, watch the news feeds, listen to the show. We'll tell you when it's going to open. That's it for my news today. Let's jump straight into my interview with Jess.
Owns a retail business in Farmingdale, Long Island.
Okay.
So it's further west from here, closer to Manhattan. So I work there part-time, but for years and years and years, I was a stay-at-home mom.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, my girls are both in high school now. And my travel experience actually starts younger, like when I was in high school.
Mm-hmm.
As a senior, all of my friends were going to the guidance counselor, picking what colleges they wanted to go to. And when I got called in, I was like, I don't want to go to college. I just want to travel. And she was like, no, no, no. Okay. So you're going to go to school for travel and tourism then. And I was like, no, I really don't want to go to school. I just want to travel. And this went back and forth. And then she finally called me. Oh, no, no, no. Sorry. My dog's barking.
That's
Shh,
right.
that was me. That was me. She called me in one day and said, you know what? I found you a program in Kissimmee, Florida, right outside Orlando. It's a 16-week travel and tourism course. So you would just get like a certificate. You don't have to go to school for 4 years and go down there and see what you like about travel. So I went, and at the end of the 16 weeks, they taught all courses of travel. So it was rental car, airline, hotel business, hospitality. And they had like a career fair at the end. And Disney came in. And I was hired by Disney to do reservations and in their res center, which was in Orlando at the time. And then I was also recruited by Delta Airlines to be a flight attendant. And
So of course
I
you went with
chose,
Disney, right? I mean, that's
well, it's so funny because when I think about it now, I'm like, man, I wish I would have worked for Disney. I was 18. I was 18 and I wanted to travel. I was like, of course, the way I'm going to travel is I'm going to be a flight attendant.
right.
So that's what I did. But I was based out of Orlando, and like I had just turned 18, and my parents were like, what do you mean you're not coming home from school? We sent you there for 16 weeks. Like, what do you mean? Like, you're coming home. So they kind of gave me a hard time for a little while because I stayed and I was based out of Orlando for about 6 months. And then I transferred and I came home and I worked out of Long Island, Islip, MacArthur Airport, which is very small. And at the time, we only had commuter flights going in and out of there. So I was a flight attendant on a 36 passenger flight to and from Boston.
Wow.
And we had a couple flights to Maine and one other place. Oh, Albany. So it wasn't like very fun.
Okay. Okay.
And it wasn't all the glamour that it was cracked up to be. So I decided to take a position on the ground instead. So then I worked like ticket counter, gate, all of that stuff at Islip Airport for a long time.
Wonderful.
And then I switched to a corporate travel agency. And I had big corporations, like I did the New York Mets, the New York Jets, and the Islanders. So I did their like corporate jets and their families traveling back and forth to visit them. And
right.
yep, I did that for probably 7 years. And then I got married and had babies. And my husband works for the Long Island Railroad, which was also shift work. And working for the airlines or that kind of business was too hard to have kids and both work. So I stayed home. And in that time, I always, I traveled a lot because I had travel benefits through all those years.
Yeah, you were deadheading on flights, I assume.
Yeah, I traveled a lot. I brought my friends with me, my boyfriend, husband now. We went a lot of places. And that was really hard to give up those travel benefits.
Sure.
But I tended to always, at least once or twice a year, go to Disney. And back then, nobody really had the internet to search on their own and to find out information. So because I had gone so many times, everybody came to me to plan their Disney trips.
Okay, makes sense.
And for information.
You go where the knowledge is.
Yep. So I have been planning everybody's Disney trips. I did live down there too for a while.
Sure.
So I was down there in the time when downtown Disney Springs was Pleasure Island.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that was my college life.
To
down
this day,
there.
I still miss the fireworks factory. That was my favorite.
Oh, yeah. That was so
restaurant.
fun. I miss Mannequins. That was a bar. That was a club with the
bar. Yep.
And the dance floor spun. And everybody just came to me for their Disney vacations. So I feel like I've been planning everybody's Disney vacations for a really long time. And I don't know. I met Michelle Norito, who is on our team at Enchanted Escape. And she actually lives in Patchogue also. So our paths crossed,
I didn't
and
realize that. That's wonderful.
yeah. So, I always saw her advertising like that she was selling Disney. I'm like, how are you selling Disney? I don't understand. And then she explained it to me and she put me in contact with Stacy. I was like, I can totally do this. I can do this. And I love doing it anyway. So I feel like I do it anyway and it's fun. And that's kind of how I got involved in it.
So you're fairly new to the team. Just a year, maybe a little bit
Yes.
over a year?
A little bit more. I feel like it took me a little while to get going.
Sure.
And once I did for 2020, I had a lot of trips booked, probably like 8, 9, 10, almost one every month.
That's very good for a starter. That's wonderful.
And COVID hit.
Yeah.
And pretty much everybody delayed or canceled. I think I had 2 people go. So I got a lot of experience and booked a lot of trips and none of them went, but that's okay. I had some cruises in there too that didn't go. It was, yeah, it was sad, but I still keep in contact with all of those people and eventually they're going to go. I actually had one of my own trips booked because I usually, with my family, we usually go every Thanksgiving. That's kind of our thing. I just like the weather then. I like that all the Christmas decorations are up and it kind of gets you in the spirit a little bit early.
Yes.
You don't have to argue with family over where you're going on Thanksgiving for dinner. And so we canceled that and I just rebooked it as of today. I just rebooked all the airline tickets and everything. We are going in July and
Well,
we
that's
are
wonderful.
going. We are going. I'm so excited.
Well, that's a drastic change in temperature from November to July.
Yeah, it certainly is. I hate going in July, but you know what? I have a daughter who's a senior who'll be going away to college in like the middle of August. So I have to get it in while we can. So the last time I was there, I was in Magic Kingdom. I actually booked a SeaWorld package, June of 2019, I guess it was. And my daughter wanted to go to Discovery Cove and swim with the dolphins
Yeah.
for her Sweet 16. Actually, I let her pick something off her bucket list and it was swim with dolphins. And of course, you can go to a few places, Hawaii, Mexico, Bahamas, but I always let it back to Orlando because that's where I wanted to go.
Okay.
So we went to Discovery Cove and we did like a SeaWorld package. And then we did do one day in Magic Kingdom. And we had her birthday dinner at Be Our Guest.
Oh, it's wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was a really fun day, but it was June. It was really, really hot. It was really, really crowded.
Yeah.
But it was such an awesome day to be there on her Sweet 16 and just know that that's what she wanted and that
That's
I could give
wonderful.
that to her. It was really great.
So spending time down in Orlando and then of course booking travel, I'm going to put words in your mouth here, but I'm not trying to. You feel that you have a pretty good range of not just Disney, but obviously SeaWorld. Are there any other parks that you feel that I don't want to say special
So
in, but you're very much.
yeah, so I honestly haven't been to Universal in many, many years, but while we were down there, I think the last time I was there, it was just Universal. It wasn't the other parks.
Oh,
I
Islands of
didn't,
Adventure and Volcano
yeah,
Bay
I
hadn't
didn't,
opened
I
yet.
haven't seen
Sure.
any of Harry Potter or any of that. But this past time, normally we don't have a rental car when we stay on property,
Uh-huh.
but this time at SeaWorld, we had a car and I lost my train of thought.
That's okay. Talking
What'd
about
you
other
ask?
parks.
Oh, other parks. We spent a lot of time. I wanted to see a lot of the hotels at Universal.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't familiar with them.
Yes.
So we spent a lot of time at City Walk. And we loved it, like the Chocolate Emporium. We went to dinner to a lot of places. I really liked City Walk, like the whole vibe and everything. I thought it was great. And as a travel agent, you can just walk into any of the hotels. I mean, I'm sure most of you guys know this and just say, hey, I'm a travel agent. Would you be able to, do you have an empty room that you'd be able to show me in the hotel? Just a basic standard room and let me see what it looks like. So I did that at the Portofino and the Sapphire Falls Hotel, both of them. I was really impressed. I really liked the whole, it's smaller at Universal. Like everything is very walkable right from there, the
Yes,
entry points.
everything
And
everything seems very much within reach. It's not as
yes.
grand of a scale as maybe the deluxe resorts at Disney. I mean, the
And
Grand
I didn't
Floridian
realize
feels
that.
huge when you're there, and yeah, the Portofino Bay Hotel or Sapphire Falls seems really more quaint and intimate
Yeah.
of a hotel.
And
Even though
there's
they do have
walking
a lot of rooms as
paths.
well. But yes,
They're beautiful, huge. I mean, the Portofino was just huge, but they have the walking trails, the walking paths that just go right to the park. It was very convenient.
yes,
And I'm glad that I got to see it while I was there, because I couldn't understand, because I was thinking Disney way of how it
sure,
was laid out.
sure.
So
And I
yeah,
do tend to compare it a lot to Disneyland. Have you been to Disneyland since the
no, I
construction there?
haven't.
It's
Mm-mm.
pretty much the same idea. The three hotels are located right there on property
Right.
with the two parks. So you really do, it feels just like Universal in Orlando in the fact that you can walk between everything with a
Yeah.
lot of ease. There's no transportation. I mean, you can't take the monorail between locations, but it's
Yeah.
just a simple walk. In fact, the Grand Californian in Disneyland has its own private entrance into
Yes, I
California
thought.
Adventure.
Mm-hmm.
So it really makes that nice, small, quaint feeling. And for young families who really want to go and experience something, but they have children who need a nap,
Yes.
they have a baby that that they got to be taken care of a lot. I tend to recommend, if they want to go California, Disneyland for that reason. And then yeah, if they want to go down to Orlando, I tend to recommend going to Universal for that reason
Yeah.
as well, because yeah, everything is so tight knit
Yes.
there that you really don't lose an entire afternoon going back to the resort for a nap.
Yeah, I really did like it. And it is something that's definitely on our list now to go, especially my kids really want to see Harry Potter. So that's definitely on the list. But in July, we're going and staying at Caribbean Beach. I really wanted to stay somewhere on the Skyliner.
Yes. Have you stayed at Caribbean Beach before?
We have. We have stayed at the Caribbean Beach. We prefer a preferred room. So you're kind of, because that's a very large resort,
It is.
Oslo.
That
And
and
you
Coronado
can
is
be,
massive.
yeah, you can be so far away from the dining areas, or, So last time I stayed, I believe it wasn't an accident, but I didn't pay for a preferred room. I think we just got upgraded
Wonderful.
somehow. And we stayed, I mean, you open up the door and you're right by the pool and the um, restaurant. It was just really convenient. So this time we got a preferred room, and we're going to try out the Skyliner. And now the Caribbean's had some updates also since
Yeah, it
I've
had some
been.
remodel. We stayed
Yep.
in the Caribbean in October when we were there, and it was my second time staying there. The previous time was on our honeymoon, uh,
Oh, fun.
19 years ago. So it was nice to be back at the Caribbean beach and see all the updates that have occurred to the property.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Verbs. I haven't compared my photos from my last trip to my honeymoon, but I am really certain we stayed in the same building or the building right next to it, because everything just felt very familiar, very,
Yeah,
very
yeah.
close, very locale. I do like at the Caribbean beach that the Skyliner um, feels very centralized. It doesn't feel like it's close to the lobby. It feels like it's in more of the center of the property,
Okay.
because it is so easy to get to from pretty much any direction.
Okay.
That was comforting to me when we were there. Um, but the skyline is great, and if you can time it right, once the fireworks start going, you can see all the fireworks from all the properties. I guarantee you can see.
Hopefully there will be fireworks by then.
One would hope.
Yeah, I hope so.
One would definitely hope.
I have to say that the fireworks are probably one of my most favorite things at any of the parks. I don't know what it is about me and fireworks. I just love them. And especially like to see them over the castle and project it. Like it's just so magical, and it gets me every single time. How many times I've seen the fireworks, especially at Magic Kingdom, it's just gets me right.
I got into a debate with I won't really call it a debate, but a discussion about with one of my clients about when is the best time to visit Magic Kingdom. And they were adamant that it's at the beginning of your trip. As soon as you get there, that's what you've got to go visit. And my
Mm.
response was, no, that's how you end the vacation. You go home
I
with
kind of do.
a fireworks
Yeah.
at the
I
castle.
usually never do it first. I do it right in the middle. I always,
In the middle. That's interesting.
yeah, because I tend to. I know that Animal Kingdom is not everybody's favorite park, um, but I kind of like the laid back vibe of Animal Kingdom. And I usually try to do that first just because traveling can pull a lot out of you and it's tiring. And I like to wake up and just go to the beautiful scenery of Animal Kingdom. And then I like to wait till the middle. Like to give myself a little bit of suspense for the fireworks at Magic Kingdom, but I can't wait till the last day. But I do like that advice, but I don't think I could wait.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Disney was, to me, I don't know, maybe I just didn't recognize, but I feel like the food situation going on there now, which is so awesome, was not always the case.
No, it was not. It was
Like I remember when going 20 years ago, it was, like Six Flags food, like hamburgers and hot dogs and
standard
knishes and
there. Yes.
yeah, definitely popcorn. And now it's, the food is to me one of the big attractions of the parks.
Yeah, and you
I mean,
try
my
it you
family
haven't been.
we're a bunch of foodies.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
we love the restaurants in Disney. We know exactly which ones we need to go to every single time we're there. But I feel like the food is another whole attraction in itself in Disney, in all of the parks.
Yes, very, very much so. There was definitely a conservative effort to up their food game many years ago. That is very obvious. The other key point to that, of course, is that the attention to food allergies became very much a concern of theirs, and they're very focused on that when you put that you have an allergy on your menu. I have a slight allergy. It's not really an allergy; it's a condition where I can't have salt. And I put that on my last reservation, and I was having the sous chefs coming out to my table
Yeah.
after I ate, discussing with me other alternatives and options that we could do. And to get that level of care was amazing.
And they make you special meals. If it's not even on the menu, they will do that.
I've got a best friend whose daughter requires extreme care in her food about what she can eat and what she can't eat. And the only place they're not big vacation people, but every time they talk to me about going to vacation, they want to go to Disney because they hear that's the level of care that they give. I'm hoping to get them here on a trip as their daughter gets a little bit older, and they're able to travel more with her. But that is the plan, is to head to Disney because of that level of care.
Absolutely. Nobody does it like Disney.
Nobody does it like Disney.
It's true. My husband and I will say that all the time. We'll just be walking down Main Street. You just hear, all of a sudden you hear the music, or you smell the smells coming from the bakery, and we say it every single time. Nobody does it like Disney. That's just the small details. You can't beat it. You can't beat it. And I've had, so many people say to me over the years, why do you go back to Disney every year? I don't understand. You could go anywhere. Why do you keep going back? I'm like, because there is no level of service. And to me, there is no place like Disney. And I'll go back every year and more.
That's one of the big things that I'm hoping as we come out of the pandemic, we don't lose at Disney, because they got rid of so many cast members, and because there's so many new cast members are going to be coming back whenever the parks do open. I really hope that level of care and that level of heart is still very much enriched.
I believe it. Their training is so intense. And I really believe that if you're a cast member there, they're training you correctly. So I have no fear of that.
Not to paint the world with rose-colored glasses there at Disney, but I did want to talk about rides with you for a little bit. And rides. What are some of your favorites? What do you believe are some of the most overrated rides? Let's talk about overrated first, so we end on a positive note. What's some of the rides you just are not a fan of for whatever reason?
I am not a fan of Space Mountain. And
I just dropped my mic and left. That's
oh no. I feel like it's very overrated. To me, it's a very harsh ride. Like, it hurts me.
Is it because you can't brace yourself before you see the turn coming, so it whips your neck? That's my
yes. That's why I don't like it.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't like not, and I don't know because I'm not like I don't mind like dark rides. It's just, it's very jerky to me, like movement wise. And I guess because I can't see what's coming. And so I prefer not to ride that ride.
I can
And
understand.
I know a lot of people love it, and it is a huge, like, just looking at it is Disney icon. But I don't like it.
See, and in Tomorrowland, the one that I obviously migrate to is the Tomorrowland Speedway, and it's not the idea of the Speedway. We all have our memories of the first time we drove a car was for most of us in Disney World.
Yeah, yeah.
Not that it is the lack of updates that have occurred to it. We're in Future World. We should have electric cars on the tracks. We shouldn't have the smell of gasoline all around us.
Oh, the
Should be
smell is
clean,
so bad.
silent cars. It'd be beautiful. Yeah, it's the smell. It is the appearance of it. I just really wish it was a nice, sleek Tomorrowland car.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you there. That's been the same since the 70s, I believe.
Mhm. Well,
Right?
in the beginning in Disneyland, the cars weren't even on a track, and there's lots of pictures of the cars driving up and down Main Street as guests just drove off with them and went on a great ride down Main Street, USA, in their car.
I can't even imagine. That's funny. Not funny, but funny.
But yes, the things that they thought of when they were building it, and the things that they didn't think of when they were building it.
So my favorite rides, I feel like everything has to do in Magic Kingdom. I don't know why, because I do really enjoy the other parks, but um, my favorite ride is Splash Mountain.
Really? Okay.
And I think it's just because those characters, like that Song of the South movie with the Brer Rabbit and you don't get to see them very often. They're
Yeah.
not around. They're not popular for
And they won't
obvious
be much more
reasons.
here in a little bit. So,
I know, I know, I know.
how
So,
do you feel about the refurb that's coming up?
I understand why they're doing it,
Yes.
and I'm looking forward to it. But since the reason why I love it so much is because you don't get to see those characters, and they are, you see a lot of them in that ride and the song, the zippity doo dah. It's just, I just love that.
I do,
I
I do understand why they're doing it, especially when
Yes,
my daughters are asking me what movie this is from, and I have the
yes,
conversation with them about this movie, and then sit down and
yes,
show it to them. So,
yes.
and I think, yes, it does have a lot of issues with it, especially in regards to racism. But at the same point, I'm very happy that they asked me what it was from, as opposed to looking for it on their own, so that I could sit down and have that educational opportunity of saying, this is what the world used to be, and we're moving on from that. And a lot of that discussion also occurred because they heard that it was changing and why it was changing too.
Right.
And so it spurred a great conversation in that regard.
My kids have been at every age. They've been from newborn to now they are 17 and almost 15.
Yeah.
And they never asked me
Really?
about the characters and
It
how
was
come they
still
never
good
saw
at
them.
value?
I don't, but they always loved the ride. And I don't know if it was because they were following me, because I always loved the ride too. Um, And I just had this conversation with them when we were there in June of 2019. It was the first time one of them said to me, Mom, where did these characters come from? How come we never see them? We laugh the whole time we're in here, and they're so fun, and we love the song. How come we don't? And yes,
Well, Disney
they're old
for
enough.
Lawn was doing much more original rides. They weren't based on properties. So I can also understand the standpoint of just accepting it as what it is as well, unless you know that it is based upon some other material.
Right. And for
Especially
a
at this
long
point.
time, I just accepted it. I just loved the characters. I just thought they were funny. They were different. And now I understand why.
Yes.
And I explained it to my girls because I told them this might be the last time, we see this. It's going to be Tiana. And they were like, no, no. But of course, I explained it to them and they understand.
I'm very happy with the Tiana transition, especially in Disneyland, because it is right there next to New Orleans Square.
Mhm.
The one problem I have with the Magic Kingdom is it is the exact same in a lot of ways in Disneyland. I really wish Disney would design parks for more originality, so we didn't repeat rides. I like, for example, Mickey's Runaway Railroad in Hollywood Studios, and I was very happy they opened that. I was very disappointed when they said, "Oh, we're going to build one on the West Coast as well." I'm like,
Yeah.
stop copying yourself. Come up with something original. And in that vein, I really wish Splash Mountain in Disneyland was Tiana, and Splash Mountain in Frontierland in Disney World was Pocahontas. I really wish they.
Ooh, that would be nice.
Yeah, it really would fit that theme, and we don't have the New Orleans flair in Disney World, so it really makes more sense for the Disneyland park to have Tiana.
Yeah. I never really thought of that. Pocahontas would definitely fit in there, and she definitely needs more representation.
Yeah, and there's that great scene where she's diving off the waterfall. I mean, it plays right into the ride in every.
Mm-hmm. You need to call someone, Ben.
I need to call someone.
You need to get on that.
Doing what I do, I have a lot of friends that work at Disney, and I've actually had this discussion with several of them, and they
didn't listen to you.
My favorite rides for some reason are in that portion of the park. They're in the Frontierland. They're the Haunted Mansion. They're the Jungle Cruise and Adventureland.
I'm all about the classic. I have to say. Yeah. I'm all about the classic. One of my other favorite ones, which once again my family laughs at me the whole time, and I don't care. I drag them every single time. Is the Enchanted Tiki Room?
Yes.
It's such a great place if you're there in the summer, just to go in and cool down for a little while. And it's just something that puts a big smile on my face, and I just love it every single time.
For me, that's Carousel of Progress. Yes, very much does the same for me. But yes, I love the Tiki Room as well. Yes.
I even have Alex and Ani bracelet with the Tiki Room symbol on it. I'm kind of a little bit obsessed with them, but yeah, I'm all for the classic Disney.
It's interesting you say the classics, because on my overrated list, Peter Pan's Flight is definitely.
Oh yeah.
And what's sad is I love the ride, and I think it's ingenious how it was designed and how it works, and I think it's magical and all that. I just don't think it's worth a 45-hour, hour and a half wait.
No,
to get onto it. It's the wait that does it for me. It's too much to get on that attraction.
I thought that it was just me, because honestly, I feel like I've ridden it so many times that maybe I just wasn't really impressed anymore. But no, I definitely don't wait that. And I feel like Snow White was the same, and they took Snow White. Snow White's not there anymore, though.
Well, not in Florida.
Oh, but it's in California.
But it's in California. It actually just got a big redo that just got completed right before COVID happened. So not many people have seen the redo.
Oh,
when it got redesigned in California. And
have you seen it? Have you seen it?
I have not seen it. I have not been able to be back before the world shut down, which is a shame. But forever it was named the Snow White's Adventure, and it was scaring children because in the original Disney rides, you were the character, you were the hero of the story, and happened to you. Is how the rides were originally designed. So the Wicked Witch, the Evil Queen, all these stories was coming after you and attacking you in the ship or in the ride.
Yeah,
was the design, and so they renamed it Snow White's Scary Adventure to try to warn parents of that fact. My understanding is now, after the redesign, that name is now just back to Snow White's Adventure.
Okay.
So.
I do remember my kids being scared, and that's probably why we didn't go on it again.
Well, and the apple, do you know the story of the apple on the ride?
No.
They used to put a real apple out there every day for the queen to offer you. And people would reach out of their ride vehicles and take the apple.
Oh,
so they got tired of replacing the apple, 40 times a day. So eventually now it's just a hologram that's there on the tray that she's offering.
Yeah.
So if you grab for it, you're not going to grab anything, just air.
That's funny.
But yeah, people were taking it.
That doesn't surprise me. I don't know why they would do that. That's funny.
Well, there's all these unknowns at Disney that, people just do also for no reason. There's the hair ties at Expedition Everest. I will never understand why the mountain is covered in hair ties.
Yeah, that's sort of like one of those things like where people just put like bubble gum on a spot on the wall and then
Yeah.
everybody puts bubble gum around it.
Everybody just
It
keeps doing it.
Yep. That's really what that is. I don't really think there's probably a point to it. It's just pennies in a fountain. I don't know. I don't know.
Who was the one person on the beginning of that ride's history that lost
Yeah,
their,
it was
their
probably an
hair tie?
accident.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
probably
it was
was.
definitely an accident.
Do you have any recommendations, any tips that you try to give each family?
I find it a little bit hard because I try and tell people what my favorite things are
Yeah.
and where our my family's favorite places are to eat, but it's really hard because you have to listen to the client and everybody's different and everybody's Disney experience is going to be different. And like this family, I kept saying to her, like, are you sure? Like, I have some really great restaurants that you would probably really love. And she's like, nope, we don't sit down and eat when we're in Disney. Like, okay. So
How we Disney is different than especially a first timer. A first timer is trying to squeeze everything in and
yeah.
encouraging them to slow down, take a moment. I
Yes.
find that problem as well with people who just say they don't want dining reservations, and I really say, it's going to benefit you. It's going to take that hour, sit down, talk about your experience you had as a family that rest of that day. Take that moment and enjoy that time together, because yeah, it really can pay off in the long run, especially if you're not rushing. I want to encourage that as much as possible, not to rush through your day, not through your park. Really take the moment and recognize where you're at and enjoy the sights and the sounds.
Listen, I've tried so many times to like experience everything in one trip.
Oh God.
So many times I'm like, this time I'm going to do it. This time I'm going to do it. Like you just can't.
No.
And it's okay. But that is really hard to get through to first time travelers. Like you have to pick the moments that are most important to you, and you can't do it all.
Right.
Even though I know you want to, I want to. I've been there, 50 times. I still want to. I get it.
So I haven't asked, what's your favorite park?
Hollywood Studios was my favorite park,
Oh, what changed?
and well, I feel like things have changed there. I don't know. I haven't been in a few years, but I think the reason why I liked it so much was actually the age of my children at the time,
Okay.
which made the park our favorite park.
That
Like,
can play a lot into that. Yes.
yes, absolutely. They did at the time they did something called the Block Party Parade,
Mm-hmm.
where they pulled the parade out, but the parade came out and then stopped. And they did all sorts of juggling and hula hoops and all the things that they did. They were stopped in front of you along the parade route.
Yeah.
And they took all the kids and brought them into the street and made them part of the parade.
Yeah.
And my kids just loved that. They loved the whole, oh gosh, I can't even think of what it is now, because we haven't been on that side in so long, across from the Little Mermaid, where it's the Disney Junior Play area. At that time at night, they would do a dance party. And that whole area, there'd be a DJ in there and dance party. And then Mickey would come in and dance with the kids. Like just random characters would come in, and they had all sorts of balloons for the kids and hats. And I don't know, my kids, it was like one of their best days ever. Like they just had so much fun in that park that day. And this was also and they've moved this attraction, when you could go into the artist place. I can't think of what it's called.
Exactly.
And you could draw a character. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Exactly what you're talking about.
And we all drew Woody.
Okay.
And I want to say my kids were like maybe 5 and 7 at the time. So they were like right in that Playhouse Disney Channel characters. And we all drew Woody. And I have these drawings of all of us. And like, it's such a small attraction. And if you don't know that it's there, you can pass it by so easily. But it was just one of our favorites. And it just made the day so special that for so many years, Hollywood Studios was just very special to me because my kids had a great time that day.
That's wonderful. Yeah, there's animation academies are wonderful.
Yes. But now it's moved to, it's in Animal Kingdom
Animal
out at Rafiki's Watch, right? Is that what you just said?
Out at
Yeah.
Watch. It's
Yes.
in the corner of that where if you know the building, as soon as you walk in the doors, it's at the far back corner.
Yes.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
as I'm sitting there drawing, I could see the surgery and recovery room
Yes, I know exactly what you
to my
mean. Yep.
right. And I was able to watch the animals in there while I was drawing. I think the last one I did, I was drawing Dumbo, which was wonderful to do because he's a lot of big circles, and that's fairly easy for both myself and my children to do is just keep drawing circles, no problem.
And I find that like because my family enjoyed that little attraction so much that like I always recommend that to people. And I'm like, it's really small. You have to look for it. I feel like you really have to look for it to know that it's there. We stumbled across it the first time. We didn't have a purpose to go there. But I always recommend people to do those small little things that you might not know is there, which can be the best family experience.
And you get to take your drawing home, so you get a keepsake.
I know. So now I have them. I have them in little frames.
In California Adventure, they have a dedicated building.
Oh, that's nice.
And it has desks and everything set up for you. And it's a stadium seating environment with a giant screen.
Oh, wow.
It's a very nice setup that they have there. And the animators that you get vary from those that are trained on that experience to actual Disney animators that have come over from Burbank and spend an hour or two there just playing around, teaching how to draw a character.
Yeah, when we came across that, I was like, this should be a bigger attraction. Like, this is so great. And this is such a big part of Disney. Like, they need to make it bigger.
Yes.
Good. All right.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for listening today. If you have any questions for me or that you'd like to be answered on the show or comments for myself or for Jessica, please email us both. Our emails will be listed in the show notes below. We would appreciate if you would share on your social media page that you're listening to the show. Help us grow our audience. Give us a rating, give us a review. It would really help us out. As well, be sure to like our Facebook page at Enchanted Escapes Travel. There you can find ways to get in contact with anybody on the team. We're all here to help you plan your next magical vacation. And as always, our services are completely free to use. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you real soon.